of other creators
Yeah.
that's trying to do the same thing. So
if the thought of you doing it for 10 years before anyone potentially watching you, which is a real scenario for a lot of people, makes you want to vomit and scares you away, then it's probably not for you. But if you hear that and you go, well, I love doing it, and this is what I'm deeply passionate about, and in my case, when I was 11, I was like, I'm going to become a YouTuber or I'm going to die trying. Those are the only two outcomes. You kind of need that level of stubbornness, because to make content that people watch, it has to be better than what's out there, and it's going to take you many years to develop those skills. So if you have people around you who push you, who make you better, who are also obsessed, and you're making content that you deeply enjoy making, you're fine with doing for a very long time without anyone watching, you at least have the guardrails to achieve success, in my opinion.
Wow. This is good. Was that two? Or we got one more left?
His third one, we'll make his the third one.
We got
Be
one
authentic.
more piece of advice left.
All right, yeah, let's get one more out of speed.
okay, one more I would say is, you kind of just pushed all the buttons.
It's good.
Terry, putting him on the spot.
I got another
Yeah,
question.
put me on the spot because he kind of like really like generalized it, like to a point. But another one that I could say is, when it gets hard, it's going to get hard. It's definitely going to get hard, and it's going to be a point where nothing's growing. It might be a point where you have no viewers. I started off with no viewers. So when you get to that point, that wall breaker, it happens to everybody, every creator out there who wants to do this. You just got to push through that, try something new, and keep going. You got to find a new lane. So I started off with 0 viewers, 1 viewer, but I kept going. So,
to allude to the point that you just brought up about it being hard, one thing, I'm going to ask this question because it's not on the list, but, the thing about social media is that it can be unforgiving. And what I mean is the comments. Everybody, you see the comments, you hear the comments. How have you guys dealt with really, bad treatment or comments or, things that can really affect your mental health? This is one thing that I want to bring up, especially with young streamers and different things. How have you guys dealt with naysayers or what you call haters?
I mean, it got to me to a point early in my career. I wasn't used to it, but at the end of the day, you're on the internet, and people are going to say whatever they want about you. People are going to say whatever. They can say whatever about you because you put yourself on the internet. You put yourself in them shoes. But as growing on the internet and streaming for like the past 5 years, I gotten better at it. But I just tuned to realize that people are going to whatever. You can do the best thing in the world, and somebody will still nitpick or say anything bad about that. So what I just started to realize is just, you just got to keep going. You can't listen to it. It don't. Mr. Beast.
Yeah, no, I mean, I'll echo on what he's saying and do a +1. And the way I like to view it is exactly what he said. At the scale our audiences is, someone's always going to have an issue with what you're doing. And so it's more a percentage game, right? Like if he does a live stream, 5 million people watch it. If there's only 100 negative comments and there's 10,000 positive ones, then you did something right. Like very few things in the world can you get 99% of people to agree on. And so it's just looking, because that's where a lot of people run into issues, is they'll read 20, 30 comments, they'll see 2 or 3 negative ones, and then won't zoom out and look at the macro and realize it's just a very small percentage. And so best case scenario, which is easier said than done, and even I relapse, is just to not, get emotional when reading it and just look at comments as objective feedback. And, if majority of them are like, this is awesome, then you're good. If, 10, 20% roughly are saying something like, oh, I didn't like this, or I didn't think this was creative enough, ideally you can just turn off your emotion and just internalize it and be like, okay, why do the fans feel that way, and then apply it. Easier said than done, but that mental toughness, I think, helps a lot. And just making sure you're in the right frame of mind when you're scrolling it, and make it a little more objective and less emotional, if that makes sense.
That is perfect. And I want to add something to that. Both of those answers were perfect. I'll never forget the first time, I started really getting into my comments. And I saw one, it's like, hey, Terry, you stink. I was like, I'm Mr. Old Spice. So
I was saying, and then he did an Old Spice commercial.
It's like, but then...
Wait, actually, On that, can you still do the peck thing from the Old Spice commercial?
That's how I opened the show.
I gotta learn that one.
Wait, how many?
You gotta teach me that.
I know, I will.
How many of you?
Put your hands together and just squeeze them together like this. Look at that. It's moving. They're moving. Just squeeze your hands together. There.
This is the riveting stuff they came here for.
The tutorial. But no, I'm gonna tell you what
tutorial.
happened. When I responded to this guy who said you stink, and what was happening is I was getting all into him, and it's what you said. It's like you can't put the attention on the negativity. And I got another comment that said, hey, Terry, you know, we love you, and you never answer us back, but you always answer when people say bad stuff to you. And that really affected me. And I realized that.
Yeah.
I was like, I said, now I have to respond to people who like me and really do what I do for them, you know? And that changed my whole frame of mind. It made my experience on the internet a lot better. So that's just me right there. I have another question for you guys. Man, everything is changing so fast. When we look at the internet, you look at AI, you look at, man, 1 minute, you know, everything's primitive. The next minute, you can shout a prompt into a microphone and the images come out jumping and screaming. How are you ready for the new changes? How are you going to reinvent yourself? Talk to me a little bit about the future of this game.
Yeah, I mean, that's a fun one. Obviously, everyone sees it. Things are developing very fast. I think in our cases, I think it'll push people more towards authentic content because I think I saw recently that the amount of AI-written articles past the amount of human-written articles dropping, and it's growing exponentially. But in the terms of content, as more and more of this stuff that's just trained on models drops, people are going to look more for the authentic stuff. And the beauty of creators like us is we have a long-term brand we built over time where people know that they can trust our videos and they can rely on them, and it's great content. It's just like, you know, when animation came around, it didn't destroy Christopher Nolan films. You know, we still love them. They're still some of the highest grossing movies ever. And so I think it'll be the same case here and push people for more authentic, real content.
Yeah, because people will always want the real stuff over the fake stuff at the end of the day.
Yes, and then in terms of tools, though, I think it'll be helpful. Like, you know, it's all across what we do. Even something as little as, you know, when we film with 1,000 contestants in our show Beast Games, which actually we shot some of the episodes here earlier this year. It was a lot of fun. Actually, it was in the studio right beside this one. Pretty funny. Yeah, thank you. It was amazing. I was shocked. Your guys' studio space here and just the talent you have here is mind-blowing. And so hoping to shoot a lot more here. But in this regard, just on so I was talking about Beast Games. Since we had 1,000 contestants, part of what typical game shows or competition shows would do is they'll just have a story producer walk up to a person, put a camera on them. They're like, you're the villain, say this, you're this, say this. Whereas we just have cameras rolling 24/7, so we don't have to put words in people's mouths. They can just speak whenever and we get the footage. Downstream effect of that is we leave with more footage than you could ever imagine. Like our season 1 of Beast Games broke the record for most footage ever filmed in a single production because we had the most cameras ever in a single production, blah, blah. And so, I mean, we're walking away with 100,000 hours of footage. I mean, I could have an army of editors and they can never watch it all. And so that's where it's nice because, you know, AI can just transcribe what everyone said and then we can search a database. And so if we want footage of someone, you know, being emotional or being excited, we can just search those terms. And so the beauty is it helps the workflow